registered the receiver, the next thing we're going to do is bind. So here's how to actually finish the bind part. I'm going to say, without holding down the bind button, select RX. We'll see that receiver 1 is RXSR, and the light on the receiver is green, indicating that the bind is complete. Now these guys are talking to each other. Now that the quadcopter is basically like assembled, the next thing to do is to set up the flight controller, finish the configuration so that it can like work. And in order to do that, you're going to need 2 pieces of software. The first one is Betaflight Configurator. Betaflight, think of it like, you know how you have a phone and your phone is either running like Android or it's running iOS. Or maybe you have a laptop and it's running Windows or it's running Mac OS. Think about Betaflight like Windows, Mac OS, Android, iOS. The flight controller is the hardware, and that's like your phone. And then Betaflight is the operating system that like makes it all work. And then what are the apps? I don't know, there aren't really any apps. Anyway, the analogy has gone far enough. In order to configure Betaflight, we're going to use Betaflight Configurator. And the other thing is that the ESC that we've got also needs a piece of software to configure it, and that piece of software is called BLHeli Suite. I have another video that I made showing you how to download and install these 2 apps. And rather than just repeat all that stuff, I'm Joshua Bardwell, and you're going to learn something today to show you. And the flight control. Betaflight is one type of software that can run on flight controllers that tells the quadcopter how to fly. And many of the videos on my channel use Betaflight. That just it's a very popular flight control software, and it happens to be one that I use a lot. So let's download Betaflight Configurator, which is the application that you're going to use to configure your flight controller and get it working. Betaflight Configurator can be downloaded like any other application. You get it from this URL, and I'll put that URL down in the video description so you can just click on it. And currently, the most recent one is Betaflight Configurator 10.6.0. Actually, this one is a release candidate. A new version of the configurator is just about to come out, and this is a test version of it. We're going to go ahead and click on that, and we will scroll down to this section called Assets, and this is where you can download the configurator itself. I'm going to download the 132 version, and that's going to download the exe file. And then under Windows, at least, just click that, and we've got an installer, just like any other application installer. After you've installed Betaflight Configurator, if you are running Windows like I am, you're also going to need to install some drivers. macOS and Linux have the drivers installed by default already, and you lucky bastards can skip this section of the video. The drivers you want are the STM32 USB VCP drivers, and you can download them from this link, but it's a pain in the butt. They make you create an account and log in, and I have a link down in the video description to my OneDrive where you can download the installer, and I suggest you just do that instead of going through all that rigmarole. The file that you want is this one here, ENSTSW installers. For Windows, you're going to pick either x60 but operate that drive to see if they have worked. And you can do that by plugging in your flight controller. I want you to look up here at this pull-down menu, which will read on Windows, it reads COM1 or manual selection. On macOS and Linux, it reads something else. And when you plug in your flight controller, you should hear a sound, and you should see a new COM port appear. That will indicate that your drivers are working and correctly installed. Yay! If you are on Windows, the next thing I want you to do is go to this URL, link is down in the video description, and download the ImpulseRC Driver Fixer. This is another case where if you have macOS or Linux, you don't have this problem. But with Windows, there's a thing that needs to be done to the drivers. BLHeli Suite. BLHeli is the firmware that runs on your ES. You need to download it before you can flash your flight controller. And at some future point, Joshua in another video will tell you to run the ImpulseRC Driver Fixer. And you'll want to have that. Just download it, put it on your desktop, put it somewhere handy. You're going to need it. Finally, you're going to need to download BL Heli Suite. BL Heli is the firmware that runs on your ESCs. The ESCs are the things that make the